Hey everyone, it's Mark here. In this video, I'm going to go through a recent incident where my Rolex was effectively stolen by a buyer who didn't transfer the funds that he was supposed to do. Now I'm going to go through what happened and how you might avoid being scammed by buyers when you're selling a watch or really selling any other luxury item. Now before we jump into this, I should probably do a time check because it seems every single YouTuber does this who's focusing on watches. Today I am wearing an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, which is wonderful because it's two-tone and it goes with everything, and I'm lazy, so I really like the watch. Now before we leap into exactly what happened, if you think I've missed anything at any point during this video, let me know that in the comments below, and obviously it would be brilliant if you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Okay, so what exactly happened? So the basic background in my case is I had a Rolex 1500, so a Rolex date 34mm, that I was selling, and I was selling it via Facebook Marketplace primarily. And I'd listed it for sale, and upon listing it for sale, I got quite a few responses in relatively quick succession. I had listed it for a competitive price. It was not rock bottom, but it was certainly not like super high, so it was an attractive price. So it wasn't terribly surprising I got so many responses so quickly. Now these all appeared to be from genuine people. The person in question did in fact appear to have a genuine profile. He had 3,000 Facebook friends. No, I can agree you can buy Facebook friends, but 3,000 Facebook friends. The profile had existed for a few years, and you could see posts dating back a little while. Furthermore, it had liked various pages, it had some various other interests, and importantly for this video, he had another item listed for sale himself. In this case, a car listed for sale, which is probably going to be his undoing because I could get his number plates, and I've given those to the police. And I've got his phone number, which I've also given to the police. And I have his details, which I've given to the police. So he will probably get his comeuppance. But nevertheless, that's effectively what happened. So we met, and then we started talking about the watch. It seemed like it was a legitimate enough transaction to begin with. The issue that should have been a red flag at the time was he was really trying to get the transaction done quickly, but to my mind this didn't set off an alarm bell, because I'd gotten quite a few different comments and quite a few responses about the watch quite quickly. So I thought, okay, maybe he thinks this is a really competitive price, it was a good condition watch, certificate of authenticity, and he just wanted to leap on it. And I was like, okay, well I've got a few other responses, maybe this is actually him just trying to get on top of it. And that didn't strike me as too bad. It was a little bit annoying, but still. Now, during this whole situation, he agreed to transfer money, but he had not actually done so by the time we did the exchange. I.e., he sent me a receipt, but it appears the receipt was in fact fake, because no money came into my account. So he sent through a fake receipt. And there's a whole extended message stream about this, and a whole extended message stream where we're going back and forth about selling this watch, and the receipt being given. Now, we meet, we exchange the watch, and then he takes it away. Now, to begin with, I was not exactly aware that the money hadn't come in, because it is often not instantaneous. But it quickly dawned on me that something was wrong. When I didn't have the money, one, and then two, he blocked me on Facebook. He didn't delete his account, he just blocked me. So it meant that I couldn't actually see his profile. That automatically was a red flag. Interestingly, he did not delete his profile, because it appears it isn't actually a fake profile. But still, he blocked me, which made it a little bit more tricky to really correspond with him to check on what was happening to the money. Okay, so that was our conversation. Now, a few key things are going to be relevant to this, and I'll circle back around to these. One, because he had another item listed for sale on Facebook, I, one, have his phone number, because I inquired about that other item, and I now have his phone number. Two, I have his number plates. Now, the car here is, it seems, his stepmom's car, hence why, for the purpose of this video, I've redacted the number plates, but still, I have the number plates, which means that when the police inquire, even if their lead is the stepmom, the police go to the stepmom, and then they get his details. So, I mean, still, it's perfectly fine. Also, I have his phone number, which I have given to the police. Also, he's recorded on CCTV because we met near a police station. And there's CCTV everywhere, so he's recorded taking the watch and recorded taking it back to the car, or back to taking it away from me, rather. So that's effectively the fact scenario. Now from this, we can get a few things that are worth watching out for when you are selling, and I've learned a few things about how to avoid being scammed. So let's go through those. First, always make sure the money clears before you give the watch. This was probably a rookie mistake on my behalf. His profile looked legitimate, and therefore I didn't require the funds to clear before I gave him the watch. I should have been more cognizant of potential scams. I should have waited for the money to clear, but unfortunately I didn't do so in this case. So always wait for the money to clear. Even if the buyer is being pushy, always wait for the money to clear. It's better to lose a potential buyer than to lose the timepiece. So that's definitely the first thing you should do. That's the case whether it's a physical exchange, whether it's by post, whatever the case might be. Always money to clear. You could use PayPal or whatever, but wire transfer is perfectly fine. Or you can pay in cash, whichever is the case. Wait for the money to clear. Secondly, get their details. Always make sure that you're able to get some information that is going to identify them, i.e. get their number plates, get their driver's license, get their phone number, get their address, get whatever the case might be that is going to enable you to identify who this person is. This means that either A, you can give it to your lawyers later on, B, you can contact them later on, and or C, you can give it to the police later on, and while the police might not be quick at doing anything, it certainly is going to put the fear of God into the buyer when you go back and tell them, I've reported it to the police, I've given them X, Y, and Z, you are on camera, follow through with the money or give me my watch back. So that's useful. 3. Always transact in an area that is safe and has CCTV. This would include police stations, which going forward would be my favored, or banks. Police stations are probably better, because then if you're reporting something to the police can easily access their own CCTV. If it's at a bank, they'd need to go to the bank, get the camera footage from the bank, etc., etc., which is fine, but a police station is probably going to be better. It will be more secure, because no one's going to rob you outside a police station. Well, generally they won't. And also, it's going to have CCTV, and if something goes wrong, the police are right there. So it's pretty much a safe place for you to be able to transact in. So I would encourage you to do that as well. 4th, always get the details of your watch before you sell it. Make sure you've written down the serial number, you've gotten details recorded. Make sure ideally there's some proof of ownership as well beforehand. Now in my case, this has actually worked out well, because I'd gotten my watch authenticated at a watch place in Sydney before doing the transaction. So I had the serial number recorded on paper, I had details recorded on paper, I had my details recorded with the watch person, so that was already sort of lined up. So this enabled me to easily give over information to the police. Now 5th and lastly for this video, remember to try to buy the buyer. Now this didn't really work out that well in my situation because I thought the person was legitimate. However, it is an initial first pass, but you should not overestimate how much you can really pass the buyer for legitimacy. In that, the person might look legitimate and might seemingly be using their real Facebook account, but they still might try to defraud you in the purchase process. So buy the buyer, but still do those other 4 things that I've mentioned. Now those are my tips for avoiding being scammed when selling a watch. Now, I don't know exactly what the resolution will be at the moment. I will keep contacting this buyer to try to get either my watch or my money, but I've also reported this to the police. So we'll see exactly what happens. I suspect that I won't get the money or the watch from this person. I suspect that the police might take a little while, but they will catch up with him. Now, this is quite plausible because the police will have his ID. Like, it doesn't take long for the police to line up that information and get who this person is. Like, their actual license plate details and all of the other information. So the police, when they're stopping this person at a random breath test, if there's a traffic pullover, if potentially he ends up in the system for something else, this is then going to come back and bite him. So basically this guy is going to get caught at some point. It might not be tomorrow, it might not be next week. It will be at some point when there's a random breath test on the road. Quite possibly this guy is going to be picked up. So in any case, those are my views and tips on what to do to try to avoid being scammed. Now, I might not be the most experienced seller, so if you think I've missed anything, let me know that in the comments below. And otherwise, like I said, it would be brilliant if you like the video and subscribe to the channel. And I hope to see you for future videos as well. Bye!